All right, what's up, guys? We are back with another podcast episode. Again, sorry we missed a week. These PPA trips are killing us on the podcast schedule. It's like so hard to get one of these out when we're coming back on a Monday. But we do have a lot of paddles to catch up on. We're talking about the new Forge and Bond Runout paddles, the J6NF and FC Plus, the Thrive Fury, some updates on the Inferno, the Enhanced Duo, which is an upcoming paddle. And then we're going to talk about some things related to Duper, the Chasing 5.0 experience, and some stuff I've learned in tournaments recently that I think hopefully a lot of people can relate to, or at least take some lessons away from me. But yeah, let's just get right into it. First, we're just going to jump right into the paddles. Let's start with these F&B paddles.
Okay.
So I forgot to grab the hybrid here, but there will be 3 shapes. There is an elongated, a wide body, and a hybrid. And the reason these paddles, I guess, are probably like more relevant, I would say, is that Justin Barton from Pickleball, etc., or the Pickleball Pursuit podcast, like helped a lot in designing these paddles. He like consulted on it, helped them build these out, and they actually are doing some like pretty interesting and different stuff for a paddle made in the USA. Like I would say, ooh, that almost knocked the iPad out.
Come on, Justin.
Yeah,
these
come on.
paddle, these
Justin,
handles.
They won't stand up.
Dude,
the handles are supposed to stand up,
The amount of
buddy.
disappointment I have right now in you.
All right, we're just going to let that lay that one down.
It's good now. It's good now.
Yeah, we'll see. If it kills my iPad, we'll...
No, it's going to fall this way. I twisted it.
All right. Anyways, so yeah, they're fully made in the U.S., and they are doing some stuff that's pretty different. Like all the paddles that have been made in the U.S. in the last, 3-4 years, they've basically all done the same exact thing. Like the most novel thing to happen to a fully USA built paddle was probably the fishing weights and the paddle tech. I mean, like that's
kind of sad to say.
Yeah, like really no iterations have happened. It's been the same type of like Gen 1 construction for a while, and these are actually built pretty different. So we'll kind of dive into some of that. First, price of these is $199. If you use code PB Studio, that'll drop 10%, so it'll go down to $180. We are going to revisit that price later. And then for the specs, like I said, there's 3 shapes. There's a wide body, a hybrid, and an elongated, which is awesome. The wide body for our unit, I totally forgot to grab the hybrid stats. Bummer. Okay. Wide body, 113 swing weight, twist weight 6.71. The elongated, 118 swing weight, 5.81 twist weight. It's pretty low for the elongated on the twist weight there. Swing weight's pretty reasonable. Hybrid, I'm sure is going to be somewhere in between there. If I had to guess, probably about a 114 to 116 swing weight.
The lower twist weight doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I guess I will get into that in a second here. So those are the specs. And then like some of the things that make this paddle different, I actually probably should have just like unwrapped one of these handles here just so I could show you guys a little better. But basically the edge guard here, and the edge guard is like a forged carbon fiber piece. Like I don't even know if you'll really be able to see this.
I can take some pictures of it and put it up.
Yeah, we could do that.
Forged carbon fiber is a really interesting material, and I am super into it. I have a wallet that's made of forged carbon fiber, and for people who don't know me, I'm super into cars. I've loved cars since I was a kid. And supercars use forged carbon fiber all the time, and it became a popular material. Essentially, it's like carbon fiber, but with a cooler looking design, and it's shavings of carbon fiber that's just put into a mold, and then epoxy is put onto it, and that's compressed, kind of almost like the carbon fiber of plywood. It's the plywood of carbon fiber, and it looks really cool. It's a lightweight, it's strong material. It's very interesting that they're using it for an edge guard. I give them props for doing something different. Even like when Diadem did that different like rubber edge guard, even though it sucked, I give any company props for trying to do something unique and different.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it in person, like it's like very different looking. It looks pretty cool. It's like very thin on the edge here. Like it's not very raised.
Yeah.
And then if you guys like pay attention, like at the throat, there's like a reinforcement forged carbon fiber piece here.
It's like
and
a plate.
It extend that, from my understanding, the entire handle is also a forged carbon fiber piece.
So it's like a molded handle.
Yeah, so it's like a molded handle. I wouldn't say it's like anything crazy better than like the nice handles we've seen in pickleball, but it's nice that we're at least, again, it reminds me a lot of, this is maybe going to be a throwback for those of you who have listened to this podcast since like the inception, but handles have kind of been a thing that I've like complained about for a long time. I mean, back in the day, the problem was the exposed polymer. Like Gen 1 paddles.
You could squish your thumb into it. You could feel the polymer of the core. It just felt really cheap.
Handles were ovals. They weren't like an octagon, and companies all the time were like, I don't know why it matters. Like, what does it matter? And now it's like, yeah, it matters.
It makes a big difference.
Why is the part you hold the whole time the cheapest part of that feels terrible?
Exactly. And see, that's where, okay, I'm slightly disappointed. Now, part of this is going to be personal preference for a lot of people, but Justin and I are both handle snobs. I'm a big snob when it comes to the handle. I'm so picky about it. I expected more out of this handle. I think it's good, better than most. It's above average, I'll say, but it's too tall. It feels square, which is something I very much so don't like. The circumference of the handle is a little bit bigger than what I'd prefer, but the butt cap feels solid. Like I like the shape of it.
See, that part to me is what surprises me that you like, because I feel like you hate flared handles, and this is like one of the most flared handles that I've ever touched, I feel like.
No, it's not that flared.
I don't know. I feel like compared to a lot of paddles I've played recently, this is a pretty flared butt cap.
I mean, usually, you're right. I'm not a huge fan of like, this is like at the very border of what I'd prefer. Any more than this, and I'd start to have issues. So, on my handle scale, I'd give this about a 7.2. Like, it's okay. It's good. It's above average, but it left more to be desired.
If that's a 7.2, then I need to know like what a Selkirk. I need a scale here.
The boomstick is like a 4.1.
Pretty low.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And then you got exposed polymer oval handles. Those are like 2.2.
That's not even a 2.
Yeah, that's like bottom of the grade. Like those are bad. But no, it's a good handle. It feels very solid. Like it's nice. It's just and again, like I said, it comes down to personal preference. Some people like bigger circumference handles, and some people might like the shape of this. But for me personally, it's a little bit too big and it's a bit too square.
It's interesting. The website lists it as 4.1, but like just holding it, I'd like almost bet money that it's at least 4.2, 4.25.
Absolutely. I mean, we've held enough paddles and have measured enough to know like this is bigger than that.
I think the biggest thing I would say for the handle is like, here's my thing. I think it's plenty fine. I think largely it's just going to come down to preference. What thickness do you want? Like a lot of people would probably pick this up and say one of the best handles they've ever felt. And then other people will be like, like it's not quite the shape I want. So like, I think largely it comes down to personal preference. To me, when I pick this up and I compare it to some of the better handles out there that have hard pallets, I don't think it's anything crazy better than those, but I appreciate that thought was like put into it.
Yeah.
Rather than people who just go, it's going to be what it is. Suck it up.
Foam pallets and whatever. It's definitely improved. Like it's, like I said, I think it is good, but the shape of it is like if you just made it with better materials, but it's like the Avatar handle. It's so square, and I don't like that. So, but that's enough. The last thing I'll rag on this paddle for.
So yeah, handle molded, great to see. I think that's cool, and also just again very different from all the companies that have had USA made handles. Like notoriously some of the worst handles in pickleball. Like so, being built in the US and not having a crappy handle, big kudos there. I think that's awesome.
That is good.
So I believe all of the forged carbon fiber, the reinforcement of the throat with the handle and the edge guard, that's what they're calling fusion fiber. And then kind of what makes this more different. So first, the thickness of this paddle, all of them, is 12.7 millimeter. So kind of like a Paddle Tech.
Copying the Paddle Tech, probably the same core.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same core. And then what kind of makes it different is that it has an EVA ring around it, but it's also different. So my understanding is that at the sides, it's thicker, and then at the top, it's thinner. My guess is thinner at the top was probably to reduce swing weight and not make it heavy, but also still try and fix some of the dead spots that Gen 1 paddles are known for. So the fact that this is using EVA foam is very different from what a lot of the USA-made companies have done, and my understanding, I believe when Justin was explaining it, is that like it's not thermoformed, so it's like kind of hard to like pin this into what type of build it is because it's not using like a lot of heat like a lot of Gen 3 paddles would be, but it also plays considerably better than Gen 1s in a lot of ways. So the build of it is just kind of interesting. Like there's some things going on with this that we just really haven't seen before. And the fact, again, that that's being done in the US is kind of sweet.
Yeah, there's definitely some cool things that I like about this. Again, the plate here at the throat to stiffen up the neck of a Gen 1 paddle is smart. It definitely feels very rigid. Like it is a very stiff paddle.
Yeah,
Due
agreed.
to, I'm assuming, this plate here at the throat and the frame around it, carbon fiber being such a rigid and stiff material, is just going to strengthen kind of the entirety of the paddle. So it does feel very solid. But personally, I'm not a huge fan of the 12.7 core. It's just a bit too thin for my liking, and it's just too quick of a response for what I like. I know there's a lot of people who enjoy that. I would have liked to see a bit thicker core. But I do think it's solid, and I think it's one of the best. Are we going to call it like a Gen 1? It's weird. It's in a weird
kind of weird
place, but Gen 1 style or
in that realm.
In that realm of Gen 1, I think this is definitely one of the better. I would take this probably over a Paddle Tech.
See, it's interesting. So I guess we'll get into a number of things here. So first, like you said, it's very stiff. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that comes down to preference. Personally, I don't really mind it. I don't personally mind that it's stiff. I don't think that's a bad thing. The sweet spot when I was first hitting it was it's better than a Gen 1, but I would say it's not better than a lot of the foam paddles we've been hitting recently. But when I did hit it side by side a Gen 1 paddle, I was like, oh, okay, I'm reminded how much better this actually is than a true Gen 1 sweet spot. But I would say if you've hit some of the better paddles in recent times, and we'll exclude like a stock Quanta from this because that kind of has a rougher sweet spot, you'll definitely notice like as you get to the edges or at the top, there's a very, jarring is probably the wrong word, but you definitely get a feedback in your hand that's like a little like tingy or like, whoa, okay, I definitely like mishit that. Sharp. Doesn't feel the best, but you still get more energy back than, say, a Paddle Tech. Like a Paddle Tech, you hit the top, that ball is straight in the ground.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, Gen 1 paddles across the board, that's kind of always been their complaint.
Well, and like Paddle Techs are just so flexy.
Yeah.
And they snap at the neck all the time. The amount of people I know who've snapped Paddle Techs at the neck, not by throwing them or whatever, hitting them on things, is a lot.
Yeah.
So I do have confidence that this is going to be more durable than a Paddle Tech, especially at the throat. I am curious though, you scrape the edge guard, especially the top corner of the paddle, into the ground all the time. Like that's where paddles usually get the most damage from play. I'm curious to see how this edge guard will hold up. Obviously, carbon fiber is a very strong material, but it's also very brittle. So I'm wondering if, and I'm sure they went and tested all this themselves or have play tested a ton of these. I'm curious if this edge guard will crack or chip. Because and there's a seam right here in the middle. So there is potential that it could crack the edge guard, and that I'm curious how it would play if the edge guard came loose. Because I'm imagining it would probably feel quite bad.
Sure. Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting observation for sure. So I think like overall with this paddle, as we were hitting it, it's just in a really weird spot where I'm hitting it and I'm going, okay, objectively, I would not say that there's a thing about this paddle that just makes it bad. Like, oh man, people would just hate it. But I also don't think there's anything that it's really doing that makes me go, it's better than, I mean, let me just rattle off some paddles here. A Vsol, a Quanta, a Loco, a J6NF, a Canon from Luzz. Like, I mean, the list could go on of like.
What's interesting is all those paddles you listed are foam core or foam enhanced paddles. And I think, personally, I do think those are better. I think they perform better, have better sweet spots, just all around the board, in my opinion, they're better paddles, better construction. But what I'm finding now interesting after talking to a ton of people, especially in Vegas, hitting with a bunch of other players, I do think that this Gen 1 style of construction, even like the Paddle Techs, will always have a place in the market. And there will always be people who, just for some reason, much prefer the feedback and feel of this, even though there's more dead spots and doesn't feel as good, than those foam paddles. Because it's just such a drastic difference. Even if you have a better sweet spot, more pop and power, control, everything across the board, doesn't matter, they'll still prefer this.
Yeah.
Which I find interesting. So even though like we kind of rag on these a little bit for having dead spots and small sweet spots and all this stuff, I do think there will just always be a player base who will take this over a foam paddle.
I mean, I definitely think there's aspects of feel and stuff that's always going to persuade people, but it's just like, man, I feel like you'd have to be pretty in tune with your paddle preferences to know, like, yeah, that's like really what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's most of the people I talk to are higher level or pros. Higher level players are pros, like 5.0, 5.5, and then, I mean, Hunter Johnson's still using a paddle tech.
Yeah.
And he made it to the semis.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I don't know. I think with these first ones, like I think the performance doesn't blow me away. It also doesn't make me go, wow, this is bad. I think when I look at this, I'm more excited about maybe what they could do in the future and not necessarily what the current offering is.
Yeah.
I think it's seeing a like fully made in the US and finally seeing something done differently is exciting and makes me think maybe they'll be able to find some other things that are pretty interesting. But I think this first round, I'm like, okay, if maybe you really loved something like a paddle tech and just really wanted it to stiffen up and not be so flexy, though I also don't, just for clarification, I don't think these hit as hard as a paddle tech, in my opinion. I feel like the top end power out of a paddle tech, the 12.7s, is higher. Interesting.
I wonder why that is.
Both, like, I would say probably pop and drive power, I feel, would be higher on those.
I'd have to hit them side by side.
Like, to me, I feel like I would think of this as like top end of all quarter, like really, really bottom of power. Like, it wasn't like, oh man, it's just lacking way a lot. But, you know, a lot of paddles we've hit recently, it's just like...
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't place it in the power category, personally.
Yeah, for sure. So, I don't know. It's just kind of like interesting to see that there are cool aspects of it, but also it's like, okay, you can have done cool things, but that doesn't necessarily lead to like drastically better performance.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I'm in the same boat as you where I think it's cool and I'm more interested to see what they can do with this technology in the future than what this currently is.
Yeah.
Like I'm curious to see what's coming next.
And some other just notes. And also that's the other thing too. Kind of, I alluded to this earlier, I guess, but like at $200, $180, it's just like, there's a lot of really awesome paddles in that price range. Even if you don't want to talk about foam, let's say you're like, screw foam, whatever, I'm not into that. I mean, you've got the Thrive Fury, you've got the Luzz Cannon on the other side. And then if you do branch into foam, like there's just a lot of stiff competition in that price range. So
yeah.
Not that I think it necessarily should have been cheaper. It sounds like a lot of work went into these, and it seems like they're built very interesting, but I just think, well, if you're going to price it there, stiff competition.
I can see it. I mean, they use high-quality materials. There's a lot of new and interesting engineering going on, and it's made in the U.S. Typically, U.S.-made products are going to be a bit more expensive. So I am not offended by the $200 price tag. I think, depending on how well the edgeguard holds up, and what's the warranty?
So that was the last thing I was going to get to. Two things. One, they do a 7-day return policy, no questions asked. So if you want to try it out, you've got 7 days. For most people, within 7 days, you're going to know if you like the paddle or not. Yeah. So that's cool that they offer that. And then this is the part that I find interesting. Probably slightly because I'm conditioned to U.S. companies offering a lifetime warranty, but they're only doing 6 months. And now some of that could just be because they're a new company and... it's going to be harder for them to absorb some warranties, and maybe they just want to see how this like really holds up. But to me, 6 months, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe if you look at all the other USA-made brands, Paddletech, Selkirk, and the stuff that are expensive and have lifetime warranties, those are all $250 plus for the most part. Yeah. So maybe at $200, that's what you give up. You give up the warranty, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm curious. Just let us know in the in the comments. Is it being $50 or $60 less worth not having a lifetime warranty? Like, as a consumer, what's your opinion on that? So I'm curious. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah. So those are the Forge and Bond Runout models. Curious to see what they do in the future. I think there's
potential.
Yeah, there's potential for sure. I mean, again, even just looking at this edge guard, like it's pretty flippin' sweet.
Yeah, I'll have to take some pictures of that. I'll put that up in the pod.
All right, next up. So this is a paddle that's, I mean, I don't know exactly when they came out, but we've had them for a while, and I just now finally got to go and hit them. But the J6 FC Plus and J6NF. So let me grab those.
Yeah.
I think we talked about them just, in the fact that there is a redesign they don't have all the stuff on them. Like, it's a little cleaner. It's pretty basic, but whatever. If you wanted it cleaner, you got it cleaner now.
Yep.
So I hit these and was a couple things. One, okay, let me go on specs first here. So let me pull this up. They're essentially identical. Swing weight, 118 for both of them, the NF and the FC Plus.
Okay.
And then the twist weight on the NF was 6.58 and 6.45 for the FC Plus. So again, basically identical. That could probably just be the difference of some glue. First of all, a 6.5 twist weight on an elongated paddle is crazy.
That's pretty high.
That Runout wide body was 6.7. And this is an elongated versus a wide body. Like, that's for an elongated paddle, that's crazy. And to me, like, I'm not a huge elongated guy. Like, I could go play with either of these and be fine. Like, the sweet spot for an elongated paddle, to me, awesome.
Sure.
Like, probably one of the better elongated sweet spots I've ever used. And I know it's like a bigger deal with like how they kind of, it's a contributing factor because these corners are like more flared out. That's kind of just been Honolulu's whole thing. So even though I kind of think this elongated shape is a little ugly, like anytime you have these, like, it's not a hard cut, but it's closer to a harder cut up here.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. While I think it's ugly, it's clearly functional. One, because the sweet spot is awesome. The swing weights are reasonable. And I'm sure that by shaving this just slightly, because the more mass at the head is going to like bring up the swing weight very quickly since it's further from your hand. So if it saved a couple points of swing weight just by cutting that off, I'm fine from it from a functionality standpoint. But if you're talking aesthetics, it definitely looks
I have
a little
a
worse.
much different take on that.
Okay, hit me.
I much disagree. I would rather have a couple points higher. Even let's just say you make that flat.
Look, we don't all have forearms like you, bro. Some of us are weak.
Fair.
Some of us are weak.
Fair. But let me get there. Let me cook. Okay, I'm on my way. Even if I wasn't, let's just say I don't like heavy paddles, right? I would rather it go up 5 points.
Oh,
because,
this is crazy.
No, just hear me out.
I'm listening.
Hear me out.
You might be about to overcook.
And if you, no. If you ask, I can't say any. A lot of pros and a lot of higher level people, especially use elongated, there's a reason why the Perseus went from that curved shape to a square top.
You're thinking Hyperion.
The Hyperion and Perseus. Why Ben John switched from the curve to the flat.
He talked about that, yeah.
Is because when you flick and roll, you're intentionally trying to hit towards the edge, right? And if you bring this down, your target of where you're able to contact the ball shrinks by so much.
Do you know who listens to this podcast?
Who?
Barely any pros.
But I'm just saying, I would rather have the ability to have a bigger sweet spot, an area to hit when I'm trying to flick and roll, than save a couple points of swing weight.
No, I'd for sure take I
get it. At the 3-5 level, you guys don't really flick much or roll much. So I understand for you. I get it.
See, to me, I think it's, and I've heard Ben talk about this. I've heard other pros talk about this. So like, it's clearly a thing at that level where I do think that's a real and a valid thing. Ben talked about it from when they launched the Perseus, why he stopped using the Hyperion and went to that. So I totally get all of it. To me, though, I think it just depends. It depends a lot on the player and what actually matters for them, right? Like, if I'm thinking about all the shots that I personally hit in a match, if I had to go and use an elongated paddle, I'm like, okay, how many more mid-court resets am I going to have to hit in a match than a backhand or forehand roll? Like, so for me, having the paddle be easier to swing but be more stable for the shots I'm going to hit more of would matter more.
No, I get it. You're not going to be able to flick or roll from the baseline much because, your drops are usually in the net or maybe a little high and you're giving them overhead. So
he overcooked, guys. He overcooked.
It doesn't matter as much.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
No, but I agree. Like, for most people, it's not that big a deal. But personally, I wouldn't use this paddle.
Sure.
Like, for how I like to play and what I'm looking for, this would not fit my needs. But again, for majority of people, yes. And you can't say that pros don't listen to our pod because we got Craig Johnson. I know Augie's listening right now. Pretty much the whole Arizona crew of people. They're watching our pod.
Let me rephrase. People who are already they're stuck using a paddle. Are those guys they're listening for, I don't know why they're listening.
I know Samantha Parker's listening.
Yeah, they're all stuck on one paddle though.
Except for Samantha.
Oh, she is signed.
Well,
unsigned?
she's signed with Thrive, and Thrive doesn't have a UPA paddle, so she has to use something else now.
Gotcha. So anyways, I mean, I don't have a ton to say about these. Like, I think if you knew how the NF and FC Plus played, if you've watched one of those reviews, I mean, these are just the same thing in a nice elongated shape.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we were hitting it this morning, I kind of went in with like, I don't know. I'm not expecting much. Didn't really think I was going to be that impressed. And walking away from it, it was probably top 2 paddles that I hit this morning that I was like thoroughly enjoying.
Wow.
Like if I had to go play singles, I'd probably pick the NF right now. I could probably go play a doubles tournament with it, honestly.
Interesting.
I don't
What's
know.
the price?
It should be $195 before code.
See, why I would never pick this over a Loco.
See, but I think it's just different though. Like I agree that, well, actually, if we're talking elongated, I would take this because the Locos are heavier.
That's insane.
So for me, the Loco, I mean, if the paddle's too hard for me to swing, it's like...
Move your arm over this way. Okay, I get it. For those who didn't see what I did on camera, I poked his forearm.
Yeah, so like even though I love the Loco, I would take this because it is easier to swing because the Loco we got was like 123 swing weight. It's like I wouldn't even add weight to that because it's already on the heavier end for me.
I think the sweet spots are solid. I just like, okay, NF, the foam core. Personally, I'd pick a Loco. And then the FC Plus, I'd rather pick the next paddle that we're about to talk about.
Which is funny because it's like so different. But actually, the thing I was going to say about these, I think we've gotten so many good options. Like the Loco, I think is pretty much one of the best foam paddles you can buy right now. Like I think it's
not even close.
It's very solid. But hitting these again, since it had been a while since I had hidden NF, probably July.
Whenever that doubles tournament.
Yeah, July is probably about when I wrapped up one of my last tournaments with the NF. I think what I'm reminded with these compared to a lot of the foam power paddles that are coming out is this to me is one of the best like starting power paddles. Like the FC Plus, I think the fact that the sweet spots are so big on either the J2 or the J6 is very good for amateurs who are wanting to experiment in a power paddle. I don't think the Loco is that hard to use, but it's definitely got more
pop,
juice, and pop. And for some people, that's just going to be harder.
That's fair.
Like if I was going to hand someone, they're like, I don't really use power paddles, but I kind of want to dabble. I would probably start them here before I start them off on like a Quanta, a Loco. Like I don't think the Loco's terribly hard to use, but if you're not used to that, like it's going to be an adjustment period.
That's valid. But
that's where I think these still fall in the market. Like if you wanted a power paddle that is easier to use, but if you want like real power, these are starting to like lag behind a little bit.
I think the sweet spot is still better on the Loco though.
Than this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I definitely don't think so. I don't think it's bad on the Loco. I actually think all the Locos, even stock, are like very solid, but I would take these over Loco sweet spot.
Yeah.
Isaac's just shaking his head right now.
Unreal.
But otherwise, I don't think I have too much more to say. I mean, it's kind of just more of the same in a different shape.
I'm at least glad to see a new design.
Yes.
Is it the best design I've ever seen? Absolutely not. But it's new and I appreciate it.
And hey, it's hard to go wrong with white.
That's true. The black and white design is clean and nice. So I do like that.
All right. Next paddle we got.
Boom.
Thrive Fury Elongated. So for those of you who don't know, Fury's already been out, but it was only a hybrid.
Yep.
Which I actually think was smart of them to start with that, since that's it's essentially a Pro 4 competitor, and Yola didn't have a hybrid. So it made sense to fill that gap.
Yeah.
Since that's kind of what the missing gap was. Now they have an elongated paddle for people that wanted an elongated paddle. So I don't know. You've hit this more than me. I hit it this morning, but you probably have more thoughts.
Yeah, I've actually got quite a few reps on this now, and I actually think it's a great paddle. Closest comparison is obviously just going to be a Pro 4. It's very similar built. It has kind of that foam inlays here at the throat to add stability. Gen 3 design, honeycomb. Like it's very similar.
It's basically a Pro 4 but added fiberglass.
Yes. If you wanted a stiffer, poppier Pro 4, this is what I would tell you to pick. It's cheaper, stiffer, has a little bit more pop, and sweet spot's probably about the same, but I played with it a bunch out in Vegas. I've hit it some here.
Dude, there were a lot of them. I mean, it makes sense. Thrive is Vegas-based, but there was a lot of Furies in Vegas.
Ton of them. So if you've hit a hybrid Fury. The biggest difference is the hybrid is way poppier. Like way poppier. So if it's difficult to control the hybrid, the elongated is actually going to be easier to control.
I did notice that, and I was curious why. Usually the shape doesn't change the paddle that much, but it definitely, like, I hit it and was like, definitely not as much pop as I remember when I hit the hybrid.
Yeah, it's definitely easier to control. I feel like you can shape the ball better with the elongated. Drives are really nice. I had no issues controlling it. I like this quite a bit. Like, I'd take this over a Luzz Cannon, but the Luzz Cannon is UPA approved. This isn't, so
also $100 price gap difference. So it's kind of one of those, would you rather pay double for a slightly different feel change? Like, to me, the Cannon feels a little softer, maybe a little like springier, where this is like a very like rigid, like boom, the ball
quicker response. Yeah.
To me, I'm kind of like Cannon's probably the easier recommendation for most people, but this is like what's gotten so complicated. Back in the dinosaur days of pickleball paddles were so, it was like very objectively, this is bad, this is good, here's the top 3 paddles, don't waste your time with anything else.
Now it's like, well, if you like this or if you like that.
Do you want stiff? Do you want it slightly toned down? Like, it's like there's kind of a place for everything, but it's like, it all just comes down to like, do you really want to pay double for it or do you not want to pay double for it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
now, one thing I will say, I rag on gradients all the time. I hate gradients. This one, I still don't like gradients. This is definitely the better gradient I've seen. But one thing I will say that I do like is I hold my paddle in the exact same orientation every single time.
So I've started doing that, actually.
These paddles give me a very clear indicator. Obviously, I can feel it in my hand. I close my eyes. I know exactly which way I want to hold it, right? But without even having to like think about it, I can just see which side. Am I looking at the colored side or am I looking at the white side? And I know right away.
Yeah.
So it's such a small random thing specific to me, but I actually do kind of like that.
Well, no, it's funny you say that because I started doing that recently, and I have to like look at my Loco's butt cap because I can see which side is like. Normally, for a while, I was able to do it by feel. Now it's like a little. I think I can still do it, but I usually just look because it's quicker. But yeah, it would be very fast with
looking
this.
at the edge guard is kind of nice. But yeah, I think it plays great if you like a Pro 4 but wanted just a bit more out of it or wanted something a bit stiffer, and this is cheaper. I think this is a great option.
Yeah. Biggest thing is just if you're willing to like deal with slightly worse warranty. I think it's 2 replacements, 6 months, versus 3 and 1 year with Yola. But I've also heard Yola's pretty slow on their warranties. So I don't know. It just depends. Like, personally, I would take these over the Pro 4, but I also think because of price, and I do like how it plays better, but I also think the Yola still has a place where, like, if you didn't want to add like that stiffer fiberglass, like, I think there's going to be a lot of people who would still be like, yeah, I'd rather have the Yola. Like, I don't think it's right or wrong, but when you're talking, about $100 cheaper, that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, it's definitely just that feel preference again.
And then again, you go all the way down to the Canon. Like, yeah, it's kind of what price range do you want to spend?
Yeah, exactly. Now you've got so many options in every price category that's like, if you like a Gen 3, you can find whatever you want to fit your needs.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
Like any price.
Exactly.
Other quick few things. One, price $199 on these. PB Studio dropped that down to $180. The swing weights. So we've talked about this before, but Thrive, you can actually pick it, which is kind of nice. So you could, if you buy multiple, you'll always know you're getting the same thing.
Yep.
So the range is 116 to 118, very reasonable swing weight range for an elongated. Twist weight is 6.1 to 6.3. So just kind of a nice perk. No one else really offers that. I know it's kind of like more of a niche thing, but if you are someone that's like, man, I hate that my paddles are always different when I get them, that's a nice little perk.
Yeah. So solid. I think it's good. Also, they're very gritty.
Yeah, like, I don't really understand how that could probably pass. Like, here's, let me just rant a little bit. I mean,
Unk is about to go off.
Yeah, Unk's about to go off here. I don't understand what USAP is doing when it comes to grit. Because at this point, I'm pretty confident that with my hand, I know what legal grit is and what legal grit is not. And the amount of paddles that I see in the wild come through our door, go to other people, whatever, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. You've got companies, let's say, let me look at the wall here. Let's take Selkirk or Paddle Tech.
11.624.
11.624, all very non-offensive grit, like definitely
no.
within.
11.624 is super gritty sometimes. Absurd.
I mean, the only ones that I've seen that were super gritty are like the pre-production ones we had of the Power series, but like all the ones I have on the wall there, they're like smooth like a Paddle Tech. So it's like, I mean, there's always going to be variance, right?
Yeah.
But there are some companies that are consistently, like Gearbox is another one that's like always pretty consistently like within, conservative. Same with Selkirk. And then I got ones like the Stripe Fury where I'm like, well, that one feels like, or Honolulu that's like pushing it. And grit has been a problem since like I started reviewing paddles.
Oh, yeah.
All the way back to the Carbons, the Electrums. There are probably a lot of people listening to this podcast that don't even know who Electrum is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, do they even care anymore? Like, do they even have a way to check for this stuff? Because I'm telling you, there's plenty of paddles out in the wild that I guarantee you wouldn't pass a stare test.
Here's the thing. USAP, companies send in their paddles that they know will pass, then they pass. Then once it is passed, they turn them into this, and USAP turns into the 3 blind mice.
But that's crazy to me because I know they know companies do this.
Here, this is USAP. Huh? What? Your paddle passed. Yep, we're good. Like, they're blind.
It's just crazy to me. I think it's really hard when you, like, okay, let's take Carbon, for example. They got slapped on the wrist once, and it was pretty bad. At the time, that was probably a pretty big blow to business.
One of the only times.
And then you see all your competitors go, we're just going to ramp the grid up like crazy. We're going to
This is way worse than whatever the OG Carbon 1 was back when they got their slap on the wrist of the US Open.
Oh, yeah.
This is twice as much.
Yeah. And like, or even take the Ruby Pros that we have.
Oh my gosh.
Like, cut my skin on that thing. Like, it's crazy. So I just...
Road rash.
I don't understand what's going on with grit. And at this point, I don't know whose responsibility it is anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen plenty of consumers get paddles that
at
are
this
wildly
point, this
gritty.
is why I'm saying, like, we should just stop caring. Like, focus on controlling the power of the game and just let spin go wild. I'm not the only one. So many other people have this opinion.
It just depends how busted it got.
I don't think it would be that crazy. We already have paddles that are
But you think
legal.
if we went full rubber, like ping pong rubber?
No, not rubber. I'm talking like, obviously we need to have materials like guidelines, but let peel ply be as gritty as whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't think it's going to be that crazy if we just let peel ply get super gritty. The Ruby Pro is, again, already like, dude, cause some road rash on your hand.
Yeah.
Like, that thing is insane.
Yeah.
So if we have that in the wild, I don't think if we just let the regulation on peel ply, like the stare, it needs to die.
Well, I mean, that has been the goal for a while. UPA's already kind of done away with that. Their on-site test is still the stare it, and I know USAP is trying to get rid of it.
Well,
but
speaking of the on-site test, when I was in Vegas, I met up with James, and he was hitting, and he was like, hey, do you want to help me out real quick? I was like, sure. And he gave me one of his paddles that he needed to submit through testing at the tournament, and was like, yeah, they'll pass, but they're just too gritty right now, so we just need to hit for a while, and they'll pass. So, like, and all the pros do this. Like, PPL tells them, yeah, it's a little gritty, just go hit for like an hour. How dumb is that? Like, so I just hit with James for 30 minutes, and then he's like, okay, thanks, this will pass now. Yeah, like, how dumb is that? So the stare needs to go away. Grit, I think we should just, like, obviously...
Here's my thing. The reason I would, like, kind of agree with what you're saying is only for the fact that then it's, like, a level playing field where right now it feels like some people can get away with it without getting in trouble, and other people are watched like a hawk.
Well, exactly.
That's my problem.
No one gives a rat's about what Honolulu makes their grit levels at.
Yeah.
But some of these other companies are put under a microscope.
Yeah.
And or Gearbox is obviously playing by the rules. I just don't think it's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think you should be able to do that. And I think it's just dumb. So
I agree.
We need to fix that.
Would be great. All right. Well, we've got some updates on the Inferno if you want to bump that thing out.
This thing's been through war.
Yeah, this thing's been beat up. Okay, so first thing, we talked about on one of the last pods that they're dual certified, but they didn't have the UPAA stamp on it, which can matter. It sounds like that's fixed now. There have been people who've got them and said, hey, there's have a stamp. So just so you know, if that's important to you and you play qualifiers, sounds like that shouldn't be a problem anymore.
Yep.
Then the other thing I just wanted to point out, I mean, if you're just watching the pod right now and you see this edge guard, you can see the white paint bleeding through and how terrible that looks.
Scrape the ground.
I mean,
it looks ugly. It's not that big of a deal, but it definitely...
Just from a cosmetic standpoint, it's kind of bad. Like, it doesn't impact performance, but I just thought I'd
you know what
mention
everyone's going to say in the comments? And I get this all the time because I talk about how I don't like the gradient edge guards and blah, blah, blah. And people are like, oh, just wrap it with some edge guard tape. No, I don't want to do that because I don't want to add that weight. Yeah. I have it set up exactly how I want. I don't want to put on some stupid edge guard tape. My personal preference... No.
Well, especially at the top, because that's where it impacts the swing weight the most.
Exactly. Even though I like heavy paddles, I have it set up exactly how I want it. And people are going to say the same thing about how it scrapes and turns white and be like, oh, just cover it with tape. No thanks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat there. Not that I'm saying it needs to be invincible, but I just thought I'd point it out. Like,
yeah, totally.
If that's a thing that matters to you, like, yeah, it gets kind of beat up and ugly.
Yeah.
So either you can put edge tape on it or you can let it look ugly.
Yep.
Take your pick. The other thing is, now that this thing's been used a lot, honestly, I need to ask them for a second unit. The sound on this thing is ridiculous. In Vegas,
my buddy who has one.
In Vegas, if I wanted to find you, I would just listen to all the courts and go, where's the loudest, thonkiest sound in paddle?
And you're not the only person to say that.
And I found you every time by listening for that sound.
And this venue, the Darling Tennis Center, is massive.
Yeah.
It's a big venue.
It sounds beyond broken.
Yeah.
Like, if you go back to what, like, some mods were back in the day, that's what this reminds me of.
But what's crazy is my buddy who has one, who I'm playing a qualifier in Dallas with, his sounds just like it, and his is basically brand new.
It doesn't look brand new anymore, though. It's been put through a ringer.
He drags that thing behind his car, I swear. It's nuts. But, like, I was just with him yesterday, and he has not had it for very long at all. It sounds exactly the same. So
it's
unless they're just coming from the factory broken, I cannot think of anything that would be wrong with it.
Yeah.
We have disbonded paddles.
Pretty obvious.
Doesn't feel like a disbonded paddle. The core's not crushed because is it NPP or EPP?
This is MPP, I believe.
NPP core. So it's like, I can't think of what would be broken.
Let me grab a ball here. I don't know if people are really going to be able to hear this on the mic, but
if not, I can just put a clip in the pod.
I'll just try and bounce this here.
And then for, like, demonstrate, like, grab, like, I don't know, the Fury or something. Yeah, that's better.
I'm grabbing an NF because it's another foam paddle. Like, I mean, it just sounds insane.
If you can hear that, like, it's wildly different. Also, sorry for anyone if you can hear that driving in the car and had your stereo turned up, that might have been super loud.
I don't think it should be too bad.
Okay.
But yeah, it's you've played with it quite a bit, so you're going to be able to speak to this way more than me because I really haven't gotten to hit it much at all. But of all the foam paddles we have seen so far, this is the only one, and I'm not like, look, people have talked about some foam paddles changing a little bit over time. There's like some have like this small loosening up period. This one, to me, seems like the most drastic change of any of the foam paddles I've seen as it changes. The sound gets crazy, and it feels like it hits hotter than when it was brand new.
See, what's interesting, though, is it's like a dog. It's like a chihuahua. It's got a bigger bark than its bite, where it sounds insane, and it's definitely a power paddle, but it's not that wild. It doesn't hit like a mod. Like, yeah, it hits hard, but it's not like, I've had no one be like, oh my gosh, I can't keep up with this paddle.
Sure.
Like, it's not that crazy in pop and power.
Mm.
Everyone who I've hit with is like, oh, I hear it and it sounds like it's going to be nuts, but then I watch or play with you and it's not that bad.
Sure.
So, yeah, I definitely think it sounds scarier than it is. Which is very interesting. Personally, I actually like the sound. I think it's very satisfying.
I mean, I think it's interesting too, but it's just like so loud.
It is so loud.
It might be like top 3 loudest paddles I've heard recently.
Or at least maybe not necessarily even like loudest, but its tone is just the most recognizable.
Yes.
It stands out. Like it turns heads when you hit it and people are like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very interesting. One thing to note, and I think we've kind of talked about this a little bit before, lifetime balls are kind of just chewing up and destroying the grit on paddles. But after hitting with a bunch of paddles now, it seems like the Luzz paddles have the least durable peel ply of any paddle I've played with.
What makes you say that?
These ones get chewed up and ripped apart way more than any other paddle I've used.
I will say your buddy that we were just talking about, he showed me his and he definitely had like a very bald spot.
Yeah. So, and I've talked to, so Roscoe Bellamy is a buddy of mine. I met up with him in Vegas and we were talking a bunch and hanging out, and he's using the Luzz Tornado for doubles, and he's noticed the same thing where his grit wears out super fast on the Luzz paddles, but he's playing with the Pro XR Jolt for singles, and it's not quite as quick on those. So
what I think is interesting, and this will probably be a deeper conversation for another time because this pod's probably already going to be long, but you guys aren't really going to be able to see this. I'm going to hold it up anyways. Maybe I'll hold up this side if you're watching. But ever since we've been using the lifetime ball, like Zane was the first person to point this out, and I just wanted more time to actually confirm. But the lifetime ball just leaves all these crazy white scratches over paddles. Like I never used to see these on my paddles. And then as soon as we got the lifetime ball, every single paddle I'm testing ends up with these crazy scratch marks.
getting chewed up really fast.
And at first I thought maybe it's my outdoor court. I know there's, debris all around the yard and, maybe that was impacting. But I've traveled to different places. I've played indoors. Like it doesn't matter where I go. All my paddles end up with these crazy scratch marks.
Yeah, and every pro I've talked to has said the same thing. So, but it seems like the Luzz paddles in particular are getting way smoother faster than any others. That's what I've noticed hitting them side by side other paddles.
Which is weird because I'm pretty sure I know some of the paddles that are made in the same factory, so I don't know why they wouldn't make any sense for them to be using a different peel ply.
Like, let me white the same amount of time, but I was hitting this Fury side by side with that Inferno, and there's way less damage on this. So I don't know. Just kind of weird.
Yeah, definitely a little weird. Okay, we're gonna skip over one paddle today, just because.
Oh, we're not talking about that.
It's just getting long. I want to make sure we get through this.
I wanted to show the.
Let's just talk about it. We'll just go through this.
We'll make it quick.
Okay. Enhanced has another paddle coming out soon-ish. I think it's aiming for November, called the Duo. Though it's very funny. If you turn it sideways, upside down, every single time I see this, all I can see is Unk.
The Unk paddle.
So I feel like moving forward, I will only be calling this the Unk paddle.
Kind of funny.
First thing I'm going to give massive props for, the design is infinitely better than the last.
So much better.
This is actually pretty clean.
I do like it.
I actually love how this looks.
It's not a gradient. It has separated colors. It's much cleaner. I think they knocked it out of the park compared to the also name Gen 4.5.
Yes.
So glad that
Duo works.
Yeah.
So, again, we're going to go over this really quick. We only briefly hit it this morning, but the kind of what's different about this
in a doubles match as well.
Sure. What's different is my understanding is EPP foam core, EVA ring, but what's different is that basically the EPP core goes all the way out through the entire edges of the paddle, kind of like the whole core would be EPP, but then they shave off a layer on the top and bottom at the edges to lay the EVA ring on top of that on both sides of the paddle.
It's like a sandwich at the edges.
It's like a sandwich at the edges. And then the whole center is a thicker EPP core. And I mean, just from hitting it this morning, I mean, this thing it's pretty hard.
It's got some juice. I ripped a couple drives at you that were moving.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot more powerful than their Gen 4.5, that's for sure. This is up there with, paddles like the Loco. It'll be a good paddle. Yeah. I have pretty much no doubt that it'll be very solid.
It has a much stiffer and denser feel.
Yeah, agreed. I don't know if it's going to be different enough to like really differentiate itself from the others, but objectively speaking,
the only thing I would say is I think its sweet spot's not quite as good as, say, a Loco.
I'd need more time to know on that.
I do like, though, that they still have those little markings on the side
for the pods.
where to put the like 3 gram pod weights on it for people who maybe are a bit newer to putting weights on paddles. So I think that's nice. And it's much more subtle now. So
nice.
If you don't put weight there, it's not like you have like ghost weights on your paddle. I think it's nice.
For sure. So we'll revisit this as it gets closer, but they did also send us a drawing. I did not know this was going to be in the box. I was very caught off guard when I opened the box.
This made me laugh so much. And now if you've watched our pod or video when we talked about the Gen 4.5, we kind of ripped it to pieces, particularly me on the design. And I called it the NASCAR paddle. Like, it was pretty funny. But now this drawing, put it on your camera, like pull it over to your side. So it's Chris and I. He's got a duo in his hands. He's got some back pain going on, a Rubik's Cube in his hands.
Yeah, and also, bro, come on. My back doesn't even hurt anymore.
Yeah, he kind of did fix that. But what's funny is I am wearing a NASCAR suit, which is just hilarious. I think this drawing is incredible. And props to a company that can take a joke and not be too offended. And I think this is great. Like, they did a great job.
I just want to know why you got a melon hat and I didn't.
That is very interesting. They must have like found a picture of you on Facebook, because I know one of your pictures on there looks like this. So I don't know. I think this is great. So
that's pretty funny.
We got a nice laugh out of this. Thank you for sending this. This is hilarious.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Okay. Last paddle before we move on to some other stuff. Holy cow, we're already 54 minutes deep.
Ooh,
sheesh.
It's going to be a long one.
So we let someone borrow one of our CRBN Waves.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
Yeah, he's a heavy hitter.
Tennis player. 5.0 tennis player.
This is the only carbon foam paddle that I have seen delaminate. And
in the true sense of the word.
Yeah.
Not core crush.
Not core crushed. Literally
disbonding.
The face. Yeah, disbonded. The face came unglued from the core.
Yep.
And it sounds crazy. Listen to this thing.
Unreal. See, what's interesting is if you can hear the difference between that and like the Inferno is you can actually, if you listen really closely, you can actually hear the face layer like vibrating and hitting the core like back and forth.
Yeah. And then this is a CRBN Waves 4 that's not busted. So it's pretty crazy. It just a wild sound, and I've never seen one do it. I haven't heard of any others doing this, so I'm not saying it because I think it's going to be some huge widespread problem. CRBN with the Genesis had like probably one of the best track records in recent times for paddle durability. But I just thought it was interesting that we finally saw one that actually had an issue.
Yeah, it's crazy. I sent a video of this paddle. It has a ton of glue rattle, which is, I'm assuming, is just the glue they use to bond the core to the face layers. I sent a video to the engineer, and he's like, from what you're describing, this is the first one we've seen do that. So very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, moving on. Just wanted to talk about some stories from the Las Vegas PPA. I feel like I've learned quite a bit doing this Chasing 5.0 series, and wanted to pose some questions, and also maybe just for those of you that play tournaments, so you play pickleball a little bit more competitively, maybe you'll relate to some of these. Some of this is like very new for me. Okay, first of all, the first question I have is I'm starting to wonder if there should be a 5-5 division. In the past, I used to think, okay, well, if you're at that level, you're just going to play a qualifier. Why wouldn't you? If you're 5-5 plus, you're just going to play a qualifier. You'll try and make a main draw. But qualifiers, I mean, you just played one. You had to be there on Sunday to play on Monday, and then you were there for an entire week. Not that you needed to be there all week, but it didn't make sense for you to come home.
Yeah.
So if you're just there for the qualifier, maybe you fly home on Tuesday, maybe you fly home on Wednesday, but you also have elevated registration costs. It's very expensive.
If you do keep winning, you have to stay there longer.
Yeah. So costs can definitely add up. So I started thinking about it, and I was like, okay, maybe because of that, a 5-5 division makes more sense. And then in my men's 5.0 division, I played a guy that has a 5.8 duper. I didn't know this going into the match. And our first game, we lose 3-11. And I was like, okay, I mean, that was bad, but we can do better than that. I was like, I could tell these guys were better than us. And then the next game, we get pickled. And I was like, oh my gosh, couldn't tell you the. I don't know if I've. No, I have definitely. I think I can only think of one other time I've been pickled in a tournament. I think. But I was just like, holy cow, what just happened? And then someone told me he had a 5'8" duper, and I was sitting there like, what? Like, what are you in my division for? Like, is this even fun for you?
He's played main draw pro.
Yeah, I mean, he played Georgia Johnson at this tournament, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was, well, no, it had to be main draw because Georgia wouldn't have been in a qualifier. Yeah, so I was just like, is this even fun for you? Like, what is going on? And his thing, I wasn't mad like, oh man, you're sandbagging in my thing. Because to me, I guess just the unfortunate way of how things are set up, 5-0 in a PPA essentially just means it's an open division tournament. But I'm just wondering if that actually makes sense, because the difference between the people who are going to play qualifiers and the difference between people who just want to play 5-0 feels like a pretty big gap. So if you've got a group of people that aren't going to play the qualifiers, maybe a 5-5 division makes sense. And maybe there's not enough people for that. I don't know.
There's a 5-5 division for APPs now.
Is there?
I think. I feel like I've heard somebody say that. Don't quote me on that. Somebody needs to fact check me because I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say I've heard that there is.
Interesting. If that's the case, that's interesting. There was also, I think there was another team that was like a 5-6 that was also in there. So I just thought it was interesting because I'm looking at it from my standpoint, which is someone who is trying to get to 5-0. There was never a world where I was going to beat this 5-8. I could have literally had the best pickleball I've ever played in my life, and I wasn't beating these guys.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, what's...
And what's crazy is he didn't even win.
Yeah, he didn't win. That is kind of crazy.
He got third.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just bad. That's probably it. But I just thought it was interesting. Like maybe we should have another division, because a lot of people will play the qualifier and also play 5-0 because they're like, well, I might as well I'm here. I'll just get more reps.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I've done that.
But to me, I'm like, were your reps even fun against me? Like, I don't think that could have been that fun.
Yeah, I don't know. For him, that was a very odd. It was just strange.
Yeah. So I don't know. Not mad at the guy. I just thought it was interesting. So moving on, I just want to talk about some stuff from the Chasing 5-0 series that I thought has been kind of interesting. So when I did this, I had this idea maybe in August is when it got kicked off, and there was about 120 days left, which puts us on a good time crunch, which is fine. But because of that, I was like, I need as many tournaments to potentially get as much duper as I can get.
Or you need to beat some people who are very inflated.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, of course I'm going to do as many tournaments as I can. Like if I, let's say I only did 2. Well, if I botched the first one, the second one has a lot of pressure, right? So it's like, okay, well, let's do that. The only thing with that I didn't think about is, holy cow, the amount of travel. All these PPAs that I'm going to are basically every other weekend. And then in between a lot of those weekends, I've had local tournaments. Like my last 5 weeks of weekends have all been tournaments with no breaks.
It's a lot.
And like that will continue.
Don't you have one this weekend?
I think it's not my last 5 weeks, but once I hit Worlds, that will have been my 5 weeks of straight tournaments.
Sure.
And it's a lot on top of trying to drill, trying to get games, trying to paddle test, trying to get work done. This was a much heavier lift than I thought it was going to be.
It's a lot.
And with our traveling, we're usually going Friday and then we're getting home Monday, but we're taking a really early flight home Monday. So then we're super exhausted on Monday. So that's kind of a throwaway day. For Vegas, I came in on Thursday. So there's it's just very interesting. And this isn't meant to complain like, oh, boo-hoo me, I get to go play PPAs. And it's not about that. It's
just
more
chaotic.
It's just a way different than how I thought this was all going to pan out.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you look at the channel, the last review was the Rhombus Quanta, which was 3 weeks ago. Thankfully, by the time you guys hear this, the Loco review should be out. But like, it's been a lot to juggle. And
it's just so different from our normal schedule that it's been a bit of an adjustment trying to figure out how to do all of this. It's just new to us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been a bit slower than normal.
And with all the traveling and knowing that this is filmed and that people are watching this series, which again, absolutely not complaining about. I'm pumped that people love this series. That's what I wanted. But the other thing that I didn't anticipate is how much pressure it adds. Like, I don't think I'm necessarily thinking about it at the tournament. Like, oh man, people are going to see this video. We traveled. But it was something I didn't factor in that I think is impacting my results, because the last probably 3 tournaments, I would say I've been more nervous than any tournament that I can think of in any time I've been playing pickleball. And I was trying to unpack this and go, why am I so nervous? I don't get it. And I think this is the only time that I've had a very strict timeline on when I wanted to hit a rating. It's the only time that the results have been very public. And then also knowing that I spent a lot of money to travel to all of these in a row, I think is like,
well, I also think
up.
the biggest part of it is the fact that you have a bet with a friend group that
honestly, that's not even factored in.
I think you think, deep down, you're not going to win the bet. And I think we all know that this hair right here is nice and safe.
Hey, if there are any pros out there listening, Augie, Craig Johnson, if you just want to play a qualifier and help see Aizec Bald on the pod, dude, I'll sling you $1,000 if it means Aizec's Bald by the end of the year.
He's trying to pay people off to do this. Look, I'm closer with them than you are, bud.
Any pro listening to this podcast, shoot me a DM. You want to play a qualifier with me? We score enough points to get me above Aizec? Salute. Hit me up on Instagram. Email at thepickleballstudio@gmail.com.
They're going to do it, and then they're going to tank on purpose.
Oh, no, that would be terrible. So, and then the other appreciation I've gotten from this is for pros.
Oh, yeah.
So I have walked away from a couple of the last tournaments very frustrated for different reasons. One tournament a week ago that we didn't even talk about was a local tournament, and I just played abysmal for a lot of different reasons. I had too much caffeine. I was very jittery.
That was rough.
I think I generally just played really bad that day, and I was just mad at, like, I can't believe how bad I just played. This last tournament, there were some things that happened where I just wasn't pumped, and I thought I could have done better than what I did. Now that I've experienced this, and I've done so many in a row, I can't even fathom what it is like to be a pro where your livelihood depends on winning, securing sponsorships depends on winning. Like, the amount of, like, frustration I have felt for something that ultimately doesn't really depend on my livelihood. And, like, the worst case scenario is, like, I burned money traveling to these tournaments, which sucks. But these pros have all of that and more, and they're losing consistently, like, every weekend. That would be really, really hard. Yeah. I don't think people understand how frustrating that would be.
And not only just that, which that's already a ton. Think about, like, their schedule. They go from Virginia Beach. Some of them play the LT Open, then go straight to Vegas. Then now they have MLP in Dallas. And then immediately after MLP, they play the World Championships. Yep. And then they go to Florida after that. It's like, dude, that's a lot of traveling. I mean, you are never home. You are literally living out of a suitcase.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So
my appreciation has definitely gone up for the pros. I think, now look, I am not a fan, personally, when people throw, like, giant hissy fits on the court, these giant tantrums, they're screaming, they're snapping paddles. I don't love any of that, and I definitely think there is a line that crosses too far for some people. But I also think, seeing some of my own emotions going through some of this, while I haven't necessarily done anything extreme yet, I feel internally how frustrating it is, and, like, how I, like, sometimes want to let that out. And I could see how that would come out in a tournament.
Yeah.
I don't want to give anyone a pass and say, oh yeah, that's fine. Like, they're under a lot of pressure, but I get it more than I ever have.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, here's the thing. Am I trying to condone any of that? No. Do I think we should be doing that? No. But look at any other professional sport. There's not a single professional sport where players don't have some burst of frustration or outrage. Tennis players are smashing rackets. Baseball teams get into brawls, basketball, football. It doesn't matter what sport it is. There's going to be bursts of frustrations anywhere. Baseball players are snapping bats. It happens. Like, this is sports. Again, like you just said, their livelihood depends on this, okay? So as much as, like, players get hate for it, I think there should be a little bit of grace. Plus, to be honest, it's kind of entertaining.
Depends how it's done, I guess. There have definitely been ones that have been funny, but yeah, it's just been very interesting. Like, I guess I'll just tell this story quickly, but in mixed, there'll be spoilers, so I guess I'll give you guys like 5 seconds here if you want to pause and not hear before the next Chasing 5-0 episode. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, hopefully that was enough time for you to pause. But we ended up going 2-2 in mixed, and the last match we lost, I felt like we should have won. Not because the team wasn't good. I think they played better. I think they had a better strategy, and I think I maybe wasn't super on my game. But I left that court feeling like maybe I didn't play my best, or maybe I let my partner down, and that to me was just kind of frustrating. Like I feel like I maybe just started falling apart a little bit. And I went off for like, had to have been minimum 45 minutes. And I literally just like went and laid in the ground somewhere, not in the ground, on the ground somewhere, and was just like running through the whole match in my head and was like, oh dude, like just, so many things like, oh, why are you so bad at pickleball? Like, why can't you just play better under pressure? All these different things. And I don't know. I can't even remember the point I was trying to make with all of that, but it was just a very interesting set of emotions to unpack after. So I can't imagine what these pros are going through.
Especially being in front of, on TV, huge crowd of people. Like it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Now, I'm glad you brought up that match, because remind me again, your opinion on the Waves? What was it again? Your review of the Waves?
I didn't even think about that. That's actually hilarious.
I feel like it wasn't very positive. And I'm pretty sure in that match, you lost to somebody using a Waves. That's kind of funny.
It was a Genesis and a Waves. It was the Genesis. The Genesis did all the work.
Is that what it was? Is that what it was?
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
The irony of that afterwards, like,
I knew one day it was gonna happen. I knew one day someone was gonna beat me up with a Wave.
Dude, it was so funny. I'm not gonna lie. I knew you were really frustrated, and that sucks. Like, I feel for you, but that was kind of funny.
Yeah,
it was ironic.
I still need to watch that one back. That's actually the only match I haven't watched back yet to figure out what went wrong in that one. But anyways, guess we'll move on a little bit, just continuing some of the other thoughts. So I have that habit tracker app, and I've been tracking a lot of things like stretching and steps and all these different things. And one of the things I check is how many times in a week I drilled and how many times I just played pickleball. So drilling counts for playing pickleball, playing games counts for playing pickleball. If I'm playing pickleball, it counts. I checked in the last 7 weeks, I have only missed 9 days. So I'm basically been playing 6 days a week. So one of the things that I thought about after this tournament and, being a little bit frustrated with my performance is I was like, okay, what are some of the like upsides from this series so far? And one of the things I thought about was, dude, 3 months ago, your back hurt so bad that the only thing you could have had was the ability to play 6 days a week and not hurt, you would have been pumped. And so when I saw that stat in my phone, it was kind of a little good reminder of like, dude, you're playing more and probably playing harder than you ever have. And my hip still is giving me a little bit of grief, but it's not enough to sideline me. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
But my back is like rock solid right now.
Big improvement.
So I was like, okay, that's hard to be upset when health is back. So
For sure.
It was a good perspective of like how quick you can forget how bad it used to be. Because I'm like, now,
it puts it all in perspective.
For sure. Last thing here. What time are we at here? We're at hour 11. Dang.
Oh, not too bad.
Okay.
I can probably run through some of my stuff in a bit pretty quickly.
Yeah. Let's. Okay. Here, we'll do this. We're gonna say you've officially made it to the kitchen. I'm gonna skip over a couple things and maybe save that for another pod because I think there's some good stories duper wise I would like to tell eventually. So I'm just gonna talk about some learning lessons, and then Aizec will tell some of his stories from the qualifier and his side of the trip. So welcome to the kitchen. Didn't know we were gonna make it so quick. I hit 1/3, dipped. It was a drip right into the kitchen, ran straight up. Now I'm waiting for the put away. Okay. So one of my focuses for this tournament in Vegas was to be less hard on myself, because that local tournament I played, I was just, dude, the next day after, I was in such a bad mood. That was one of the worst moods I've been in a long time.
I'm not going to lie. You had to pick me up the next day early in the morning for my flight. I didn't even ask how the tournament went because the second I got in that car, I already had my answer.
I don't even remember being in a bad mood at that point, but I was in a bad mood all day.
Yeah.
It was a very, very, very bad mood. So I was just very hard on myself about that tournament for a lot of different reasons. And so one of the things going into Vegas that was a very specific goal of mine was, okay, look, if you miss an overhead or you miss a third or you just miss a ball you feel like you should have made, the only objective is to forget about it as fast as possible or not really care. Now, there are definitely balls I missed and was like, dude, like, how could you miss that? That was like such an easy ball. But I was able to get out of that loop a lot quicker and like get back to the game and not linger on like every time I got that ball again, I was like, don't miss, don't miss, don't miss. You know, I was able to just kind of let go and be like, okay, here's the ball, swing for the ball. So that was a good thing for me because I found the longer I linger on those, the worse I play.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that is for everyone. If you're going to linger on a past mistake, you're probably going to play pretty poorly. So I was happy in that respect that I managed to do that well. The next thing I need to learn how to do, and I think this is difficult because of the series and trying to hit 5-0 by a certain time. We kind of already talked about that. But trying to learn to play loose under the pressure that's happening right now, because I found in the last handful of tournaments, I play very differently from how I would normally play pickleball. Or my mechanics start to change. Specifically, my serve in rec, I feel like I can blast my serve. Anytime me and Mia were warming up at this tournament, I'm like hitting serves and Mia can't even return them. And she's like, why can't you just do this in a match? And I'm like, I don't know. It just, the second a match starts, it's like my body tenses up and it's like, well, you better not hit it too hard.
We got to start betting things on our rec matches again.
I almost think we do because it's like the only way I'm going to simulate this pressure and learn to deal with it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing I'm trying to learn to do right now is like play looser and not care about like, okay, hey, you missed a serve, whatever, just go for it. Because I actually think I miss more when I'm tense anyways. So it's just an interesting thing. But I think when I get in the tournament, I'm like, okay, you need to get your duper up. You paid all this money to be here. You brought your partners with you. And whatever other things you want to, people on YouTube are going to see this. Mm-hmm. And so it's just really hard to play loose when you think about all those things. Like one of those is hard enough. Spending a lot of money to go to these tournaments is tough enough. Then you add in partners and all these different things and
it piles up. There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm definitely learning how to deal with that. I don't have a good answer for it yet. And maybe people in the comments will have some thoughts of what they do, but definitely working on that.
I mean, it's interesting because it's not like you've never been under high stress, pressure like situations before. You used to be one of the best speed cubers in the world on big stages in front of people. So it's like you're used to it.
I think the reason this is a little bit different is, and it's not the fault of either of my partners. Both my partners are incredible. I love playing with them.
Because it's a team sport?
Yeah, because I think it's the thought of I'm letting my partner down that adds way more weight.
That's understandable.
In speed cubing, it was like, oh, well, if you screwed up, like it's just me. I didn't screw it up for anyone else. And so thankfully, both of them are awesome, and neither of them have held anything against me or been angry. Actually, a funny story. After I was done pouting at Vegas, I texted Mia and I was like, hey, do you have time to just like come and debrief the tournament? Like, I think it'll just help me get over this if I just process it out loud, like someone else who saw the day. And, I said something like, hey, I had a ton of fun playing. It was great. When I left, I wasn't mad at you. I was just mad at me. And she's like, oh yeah, I had a great time playing with you. I think you played great. And when I saw that text on my phone, I literally went, bro, you don't got to lie to me like that. I played like garbage. Like in my head, I was like, I played horrendous. Like, why are you lying to me?
Yeah.
And so we had spent, maybe 20 minutes breaking the whole day down. And then later that evening, we also watched some of the matches back. And how I remembered playing versus how I actually played were completely different. I'm not saying I didn't make mistakes. I absolutely made mistakes. There were for sure things I could have done better. But the way I remembered it was like, dude, you literally don't know how to hit a third, whether it's a drive, a drop, you couldn't put a ball away. Like, you were the one making all the errors. You were the reason that we lost today, is how my head like remembered everything.
Yeah.
And when we went and watched the games back, yeah, for sure I made some mistakes, but I was watching it back going, is this the same guy that I thought I was today? Because like that drop was great. We made it to the kitchen. Like a lot of the issues I thought happened didn't actually happen. So it was a very interesting thing to learn about how much my mind like skewed things badly. Like my perception was not actually what happened.
Yeah.
And so that I thought that was interesting because when Mia texted me, clearly her perception was, oh, you played fine. Like, yeah, maybe you could have done a little bit better in certain things, but overall you played fine. And so then seeing it myself, I was like, oh, wow. It was very different from how I remembered it. So I don't know. Just an interesting thing about like mental distortions. It's like you can sometimes remember it very, very differently than what
I
actually
had
happened.
the same thing happen from the qualifier. I watched my match back and I was like, played way better than I thought I did.
Yeah.
Even though I lost my match, I played, like when I watched it, I was like, oh, not nearly as many mistakes as I thought. So same thing happens to me too.
Yeah. So I highly recommend for some of you, if you get in your head about your game or you're angry after a tournament, especially if you can watch it back with your partner. I know a lot of people don't do this, but genuinely it was like therapeutic to watch this back. One, because there were things we could laugh about, like, oh, that was a dumb ball. But also I think it was good just to see it and see things more objectively, especially if you have partners who are kind of good at like, here's why this happened. There were multiple things like in our first match where I did have a lot of thirds that weren't that awesome. And I was like, looking back, I was like, oh, wait, it wasn't because I don't know how to hit a third. It's because this guy was hitting really deep returns and I was always backing up. And had I literally just been 2 steps off the line, my thirds probably would have been great.
Yeah.
So it's just a very like, oh, well, that was an easy fix. It's not, I don't have to go hit 10,000 thirds. I just need to stand 2 steps back and then I can hit the third how I know how to hit the third.
Right.
Just thought that was kind of interesting.
Totally.
Which actually, I guess that was my last point that I had was just like, I feel like I'm learning a lot that sometimes it's not that you don't physically know how to do a mechanic or hit a ball, but a lot of times it's like your positioning set you up to not be able to hit the ball the way you like to hit the ball.
And I think this has been your biggest struggle point. And I think like once you get this down, you'll see massive improvement quickly. Like you've always kind of struggled a little bit with positioning and footwork a little bit.
Yeah.
And again, you have great technique. Your strokes are good. You
tell me more. Keep
play,
going.
Yeah,
keep
no,
going.
look, we're not going to go too far, okay? We're not going to gas you up too much. I'm not glazing here. But when you do miss, it's just because you find yourself in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Or you're just not covering the right area. Or it's just a matter of like you don't seem to get yourself in the right position at the right time.
Yeah.
But you're capable of hitting great shots all the time. You're just usually caught off guard.
Yeah.
And I think once you get that down, that'll be the next really big, quick improvement.
Yeah.
So
for sure. I completely agree. So yeah, that's kind of what I had. I guess if we want to go through some of your stuff quick here, we're at like an hour 20. Probably not try and go too long here, but
yeah, I'll try and make it quick. I had a ton go on in Vegas because I was there for 8 days, but we'll condense it down to the things that matter. So flew in Sunday morning, got there, just kind of, I drilled a little bit that day, was getting ready for the qualifier on Monday. I was playing with a local buddy of mine named Brock Resnowicki, great player. He's a good friend of mine. We drill a bunch. He's great. For anyone who we've talked about him, he is Brock star in drilling. He's incredible in drilling, and sometimes he might turn into broccoli in tournaments. But we played the qualifier. He played great. We both played. We're feeling really good. Our match, we unfortunately went to 3 and lost it 13-11 in the third. So a bit of a tight match. I started missing my thirds at the end. Although up until the very last point, I was on fire with my thirds. I was feeling really good. My partner missed a few serves and we were both missing some returns. So we totally could have won that match. Bit unfortunate that we lost, but it's all good. It happens. So I'm overall happy with the qualifier, how I played, even though we didn't do super well. I was kind of in the same boat as you, where I was pretty frustrated afterwards, but it was, again, all towards me, not towards my partner. And again, played with the Luzz Inferno. Awesome paddle. I think it played great. But that one might need to be retired because it's getting so beat up now. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to play with Dallas for the qualifier there. So but yeah, after that, there's just a bunch of random funny stories that I had from Vegas. So I was staying with the owner of Thrive. His name's Scott. He let me house with him until you got there to stay at our Airbnb. And he sponsors a couple guys, one named Andre Millett and another Alex Emery. They play together. Andre is from Vegas and Alex is from LA. They play a ton of money balls out in LA and they win pretty much everything. They're both like 6'2" rated players, so very good. There's a funny clip of them at the last Vegas tournament beating Travis Rettenmeyer and Julian Arnold, and there were some interesting controversies that happened there. But great players, so I got to hang out with them, play with them. And another friend of Alex who came with, his name's Mark. He's about a 5'2" rated player. And I might have to clip some stuff and put it in here. You know how Duper has the forecast thing?
Yeah.
We put it in. We're like, okay, we're both 5'2" average player. They're both 6'2" average players. What is Duper going to put the spread at? So Duper gave us 2 points. We had to win 2 points against these guys to like gain Duper, or that's what it expects us to do, right? So like, okay, we got to make a bet. What are we going to do? So we like bet dinner on it or something. And we played. Mark and I win the first game against these guys. Okay. We beat them like 11-8 or something. And then I think they kind of started to turn it up or they warmed up. And then we lost like 11-5 or 11-6. But point is, we played like 6 or 7 games. We beat the spread every single time. Then we raised the spread to like 4.5. We still beat it every time. So either they're inflated or Mark and I are underrated players. Okay. Just going to throw that out there.
Or both.
Could be both. So that was a fun experience. Just had to shout them out. They're great guys. They drove me around all event. Really nice. For anyone who knows them, they're awesome people. And then shout out to everyone who came up to you and I at the venue saying hi. Really appreciate getting to talk to everybody there. It was really cool. Had a lot of people come up and say they've really been enjoying the Chasing 5-0 series. It's been doing really well. So just had to show some appreciation to everyone who, came up and said hi. I love that stuff. It's a lot of fun.
I think it's really funny. Look, I'm not saying it's not justified, but this might be one of the funniest things about the Chasing 5-0 series to me so far. Because, a number of people came up and said how much they appreciated the series at the tournament. And I love hearing it. Guys, I'm seriously glad people like it. I really wasn't sure if this series would take off or if people would be interested. But I think the funniest thing is people will come up multiple times. Mia and I are on our way to a match. I don't think anyone stopped me and Sergey. I think it might have only been on mix day, but he's not been in a video yet. Yeah, I think this is his first one. So people wouldn't even have known it was him. Anyways, get stopped and people would be like, Chris, I love the series. It's so entertaining. It's so fun to watch. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's awesome. Like, I'm glad you like it. And then people always look at Mia and they're like, Mia, I hope I'm as good at pickleball as you wanted. Like you are so good at pickleball. Like I think what did one person say? They were like, I think the exact quote was something like, it's poetry in motion or something.
I think we need to start showing the real Mia in these videos. I think when you're editing it, I think you're being a bit too nice, okay? Like it's, how people are like, oh, when he reviews paddles, he's only clipping the points of him playing well. It's that on steroids for Mia, okay? We need to start showing... How many missed returns was it in that first match for Mia? 18?
No, not 18, but it was a lot. It was double digits.
I'm just saying, Mia's getting gassed up a bit too much.
No, I think the funniest thing to me about all of it is not that Mia's getting complimented, because I've dissected this and I think I figured out why there's like certain attributes that I think can make people see things in other players a little better. But I think it's funny that all of mine are always like, yeah, Chris, the videos are really cool. And then they look at me and they're like, Mia, you're so good at pickleball. I'm like, dang, I'm not good at pickleball. No one told me I'm good at pickleball. I'm just joking. I'm not mad, but it just made me laugh. I was like, it's always about the video. It's never about my play.
No, totally.
I'm like, this says a lot.
I did get a few nice compliments where people are like, look, the videography of the videos has been really good. And I'm the one operating the cameras, and I really appreciate that. So I'm glad that some people recognized my efforts.
But so I'll just tell this story quick, and then maybe if you have like one more after that, we can kind of wrap up or whatever. But I think what I've realized is like, some people, and I think you fall into this category too, obviously you're a good player, but like the more athletic you look, because like I think I just don't look that athletic in comparison to a lot of people. Like if I compare myself to you or if I compare myself to Mia, like the way you guys move and like the form is very proper. Like when you see someone like that, it's like I don't know what the right word is. It's like exciting, or you're like, wow, this person has a ton of
Like
potential.
more
'Cause,
entertaining visually.
yeah, you're just like, wow, this person like really knows what they're doing. Whereas you can see someone who's good. Like I'm sure we could find a 5'3" that's got like super unorthodox.
Well,
like
think Anderson Scarpa.
that's actually a great example.
It like pains my eyes to watch that man backhand dink. Is he an incredible player? Yes, but it has to be one of the ugliest forms out on tour of all time, right? It's unorthodox, and I don't even think your form is necessarily unorthodox.
No,
It's
I just think something about how I move doesn't look as good.
You do things at the very fundamental basic level, and that's not bad. Like that's how you should play pickleball, right? That's high percentage, good pickleball. But you don't do anything flashy or exciting.
Yeah.
You don't ernie a ton, like it's those things, or you don't have like the cleanest looking form where like Mia has very nice, smooth, clean looking technical form.
And I also think a even bigger thing that contributes to it is like the footwork of the person. Like they just like, for example, take Will, for example. Will is like pickleball Will, super smooth on the court. Like when you watch Will play, you're like, this guy is just like got some swagger to him. Then you like watch me play and you're like, this guy's an elephant. So like, I think there are people like you, like Mia, like Will, when people see it, it's like how they move and how their body is coordinated that just looks like exceptionally better than some other people. So basically I learned if I want to get compliments, I just got to learn to move a little cleaner. I got to look better. I don't actually have to be better.
Look, I tell this to everybody. You got to fake it till you make it, baby.
I don't know how to fake it yet. I don't know how to fake it. But I think that was a thing that contributes.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. But all I'm saying now is we got to start showing more of Mia's misses. Okay, you got to show people the truth in these edits. Okay, the real people.
Like I could put whatever I want in the videos. Everyone's always just gonna be like, "Chris, you're getting carried," and I'm like, you know what? There's an art to getting carried. If I got to get carried, that's fine.
It is funny that is kind of how it's been portrayed.
I mean, that's my whole pickleball career. It's fine.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Anyways, I'm sure I'm missing. There's just so much that happened out in Vegas. There's so many stories I probably could tell, and I'm missing some things. But moral of the story: Vegas is a great trip. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Dallas coming up. This is going to be a very interesting one. I leave Saturday morning around...
Which will be before this pod goes up.
Yep. Oh, yeah, true. So I'll already be on the road when you guys are listening. I mean, I'll already be playing the qualifier when people are listening to this. But I'm leaving Saturday morning at 3 a.m. because I am driving down to
Like
Dallas.
an absolute psycho.
Yeah.
You and your buddy are insane.
I might have to vlog the drive down there because that's going to be a very... it's nonstop. We're only stopping for gas and
you guys
food
are
and stuff.
insane.
Look, we got these suckers. Okay, we're golden.
One day you guys you'll learn.
So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Anyone who's gonna be in Dallas, come up, say hi. Love talking to people. Love meeting people. It's been a lot of fun. So if it is anything like Vegas, at least it's not gonna be as dry. My lips were
oh my gosh, same.
burning.
Yeah, and it was rough in Vegas.
I went through like half a stick of chapstick on that trip. It was bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've got more stuff, but this has already been a long pod, and I'll save it for the next one.
Yeah. Sounds good. Well, thanks to everyone for listening. Hopefully we don't miss another week. It's going to be kind of tough with how Worlds is scheduled, but we will try and keep you guys in the loop. But thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.